They say justice is blind, but what happens when the very hands that hold the scales are tainted? Corruption, a word whispered in hushed tones, can fester in the most unexpected corners, even the hallowed halls of our courts. We place our faith in the legal system, trusting it to be our shield against chaos, our beacon of fairness. Yet, the foundation trembles when the integrity of those entrusted with upholding the law crumbles under greed and deceit. This isn't just a story of one juror, one trial, one act of bribery. It's a stark reminder that the battle between right and wrong isn't confined to courtrooms. It rages within the human heart. The recent child aid scandal, a complex web of deceit involving misappropriated funds, has sent shockwaves through our community. The trial in progress aims to bring the perpetrators to justice. But behind the scenes, a sinister plot unfolds, threatening to derail the pursuit of truth. This isn't just about money. It's about the very essence of justice and the erosion of trust when its guardians choose personal gain over their sworn duty. The weight of the evidence, the testimonies, the future of countless children, all hang precariously in the balance, vulnerable to the corrupting influence of a single act. Sarah, a juror in the high-profile child aid fraud case, carried the weight of the trial on her shoulders. The evidence was overwhelming, painting a grim picture of greed and deception. Yet something about the defense attorney's line of questioning, a lingering glance, a subtle shift in his demeanor, left her feeling uneasy. It was a feeling she couldn't quite place, a seed of doubt sown in the fertile ground of her conscience. Leaving the courthouse late one evening, Sarah felt a prickle of unease, a sixth sense tingling. The usual city symphony of honking and chatter seemed muffled, replaced by an unsettling quiet. As she fumbled for her keys, her fingers brushed against something cold and metallic in her bag. Her heart pounded against her ribs like a frantic prisoner. Panic swelled in her throat, threatening to choke her. With trembling hands, Sarah unzipped her bag, her breath caught in her throat. Nestled amongst her belongings was a nondescript suitcase, its weight unusual, unnerving. Inside, neatly stacked bundles of cash stared back at her, $120,000, a life-altering sum. A handwritten note lay on top. "Consider this, a change in perspective. The defense is counting on your discretion." The words hung in the air, heavy with implied threat and the bitter tang of corruption. $120,000. It was more money than Sarah had ever seen, a figure that danced before her eyes like a taunting phantom. It represented a way out, an escape from the financial anxieties that had plagued her for years. The mortgage, her daughter's college fund, the mounting medical bills, all could be erased with a single decision. The thought sent a shiver down her spine, a mix of fear and a dangerous allure. But the weight of the bribe was more than just monetary. It was a heavy cloak of guilt threatening to smother her conscience. The faces of the children she had seen in the courtroom, their innocence stolen, flashed before her eyes. Could she betray their trust, their hope for justice, for her own personal gain? The thought left a bitter taste in her mouth, a stark reminder of the human cost of her potential silence. Sleep offered no respite, her dreams haunted by the faces of the accused and the children they had wronged. The gravity of her situation settled in. She was no longer just a juror, she was an unwilling participant in a twisted game where the stakes were higher than she could ever imagine. The weight of the decision pressed down on her, threatening to crush her spirit. Days turned into sleepless nights as Sarah grappled with her conscience. The city, once a symbol of opportunity, now felt like a cage, its towering buildings closing in on her secret. The bribe, initially a tempting solution, had morphed into a constant reminder of the moral precipice she teetered on. The weight of her silence was suffocating, a heavy chain around her neck. The courtroom, once a place of clarity and purpose, now felt like a stage for a macabre play. The lawyer's arguments seemed distant, their words losing all meaning against the backdrop of her inner turmoil. Even the evidence, once so clear, now seemed tainted, clouded by the knowledge of the bribe. The very foundation of justice she had sworn to uphold was crumbling beneath her feet. The faces of her fellow jurors, once anonymous, now seemed to scrutinize her every move, their gazes filled with unspoken suspicion. Each time the judge's gavel fell, it felt like a blow to her chest, a constant reminder of the impending verdict she was expected to deliver. The guilt gnawed at her, threatening to consume her. Could she live with herself knowing she had betrayed the very system she had sworn to uphold? Sarah's story, although fictionalized for this essay, shines a light on a chilling reality: the potential for corruption to infect even the most sacred institutions. It forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The pursuit of justice is a fragile endeavor, vulnerable to the whims of individuals driven by greed and self-preservation. The very system designed to protect us can be compromised, leaving the innocent vulnerable and shaking our faith in the very foundation of our society. The implications of such breaches of trust extend far beyond a single case. It erodes public confidence in the legal system, casting a shadow of doubt over every verdict, every judgment. When individuals with the power to sway the scales of justice are compromised, it undermines the very principles of fairness and equality that our society is built upon. The ramifications are far-reaching, leaving a society grappling with the unsettling realization that justice is not a guaranteed right but a privilege vulnerable to manipulation. The fight against corruption within the legal system is not just the responsibility of law enforcement and judicial bodies. It is a collective responsibility. It requires vigilance from citizens, ethical conduct from legal professionals, and a commitment to transparency and accountability at all levels. Only through a concerted effort can we hope to safeguard the integrity of our justice system and ensure that it remains a beacon of hope for those seeking fairness and redress. While this specific story is a work of fiction, the questions it raises are very real. Sarah's struggle represents a larger battle against the allure of easy money and the erosion of ethical boundaries. It serves as a stark reminder that the fight for justice is not confined to courtrooms and legal battles. It is a constant struggle waged within each of us. The choice Sarah makes, the path she chooses, will determine not just the outcome of a single trial, but also reflect the kind of society we are willing to tolerate. Will we allow greed and corruption to poison the well of justice? Or will we stand as guardians of integrity, demanding accountability and transparency from those entrusted with upholding the law? The answer, my friend, lies not in fictional narratives, but in the choices we make every single day. Remember, justice is not a spectator sport. It demands our attention, our participation, and our unwavering commitment to truth and fairness. The fight for a just society begins with each of us, with the choices we make when no one is watching, with the courage to speak truth to power, and with the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of times, the light of integrity can prevail.